81 Japanese yen, 63 British pence, and $1.23 New Zealand. Moving on to other news now, and more than 35 federal police officers are on their way to Christmas Island, help with the removal of 55 asylum seekers to Malaysia. Jane Norman with that story.
The 38 officers will touch down this afternoon, taking the total number of federal police on the island to just over 100. The officers will be responsible for escorting the asylum seekers to Malaysia. The first plane, carrying 15 men, is expected to leave the island on Monday. It's unclear when the rest of the group will be transferred. Meanwhile, the Immigration Department is continuing to deny reports the asylum seekers are taking part in a hunger strike. The spokeswoman for the department says just because a person misses a meal or two, it doesn't mean they're on voluntary starvation. Jane Norman, ABC News, Christmas Island.
Meantime, the Prime Minister Julia Gillard says the Immigration Department is looking into reports some asylum seekers are staying on the strike of Christmas Island. A refugee advocate has been told that some detainees who are awaiting transfer to Malaysia are refusing to eat. Ms. Gillard says the strike won't change the government's decision to send asylum seekers to Malaysia.
Obviously, our Immigration Department officials will handle any issues, but as we've made clear all along, the returns to Malaysia aren't a question of volunteering. This will be done.
3 people are in hospital with serious burns following an explosion at a clandestine drug laboratory in Perth's northern suburbs. With more, here's Drasko Yankovic.
Neighbours reported hearing a loud explosion and people screaming in a home on Rochester Circle in Balga just after 2 o'clock this morning. The 34-year-old man is in a critical condition with extensive burns to his body. A 37-year-old man and a 43-year-old woman are in a stable condition with serious burns. Ros Weatherall from Police Media says the organised crime squad is at the scene.
Inside the house were items associated with the manufacture of methamphetamine.
Police want to speak to a number of people seen running from the home and driving away after the explosion. Fire authorities say the blaze appears to have been caused by a gas bottle rupturing or an accumulation of gas inside the house.
Police are expected to question Richmond football player Jake King over claims he allegedly made death threats to another man. King allegedly threatened a 29-year-old Sunbury man. In the Bendigo Magistrates Court this week, police applied for an interim intervention order to be served against King. The Richmond Football Club says it's aware of the matter, but can't comment as it's before the courts. While overseas, China has placed parts of its east coast on alert as a powerful typhoon approaches the country. More than 7,000 fishing boats have been called back into harbour as winds have reached more than 160 kilometres an hour. Air travel faces disruption and coastal areas are preparing for evacuations. Anti-government demonstrations have marred a service in Chile to mark the first anniversary of the accident that left 33 miners there trapped underground for more than 2 months. The BBC's Gideon Long reports from Copiapo, the city closest to the mine.
Most of the miners, along with friends and families, attended a church service with the country's president, Sebastián Piñera. But then there were 2 brief protests against the government's education policy and a plan to build a big coal-fired power station near here. The protesters were dragged away by police before the miners moved on to a local museum. There, students tried to fight their way through police barricades to get their message to Mr. Piñera, whose popularity has plummeted since last year's rescue.
Japan's Prime Minister is vowing to work towards lowering his country's reliance on nuclear power. The ceremony marking the 66th anniversary of Hiroshima. The center of attention in this year's ceremony devotes to the victims of the world's first says it's an exciting mission.
Juno is a mission that planetary science has been waiting for a long time. We've introduced it before, but Juno is going to do several things that no other spacecraft has done. It's going to go much closer into Jupiter and give us a view of the planet that we've never had before.
You're listening to ABC News Radio.
Now it's time to take a look at sport here on ABC News Radio. And North Queensland coach Neil Henry expects to notify in the middle of next week. Jonathan Thurston will make his NRL return in next week's All-Queensland match against Brisbane. Thurston has missed the past 5 games with an injury he suffered in the State of Origin final. The Cowboys have a 3-2 record in his absence, but he could drop below the Broncos after losing 14-6. Game overnight. A home win over the Warriors tonight will see Brisbane above the Cowboys. Also tonight, Melbourne play Penrith in Melbourne, and Cronulla are at home to the Gold Coast. In the AFL, Adelaide Crows Chief Executive Stephen Trigg says he's liked Mark Bigley's initial work as caretaker coach. Bigley replaced former coach Neil Craig last week. Up to 20 people have been suggested for the full-time role, with Trigg saying he's keen to see how Bigley performs over the next month.
I have seen him grow quickly into it and settle to it really well. He's got a lot of building blocks there that would make him a really good coach, but there's a bit to be played out there, so we'll just see how things four or 5 weeks go.
And AFL matches that have already played today, Geelong have had a big win over the Gold Coast. They've beaten them 188-38. And Carlton beat Melbourne 134-58. Well, the Wallabies will be aiming to win at Auckland's Eden Park for the first time in 25 years when they face New Zealand today. The venue will be the stage for Australia's World Cup pool match against Ireland next month, as well as October's final. The Wallabies captain Rocky Elson says this time isn't treating tonight's match as a World Cup warm-up.
That'd be a bit disrespectful to say that. This is a very big game for us. There's no doubt about that.
Australia's Adam Scott's in a 4-way tie for the lead after the second round of the World Golf Championships event in Ohio. Here's the BBC's Andrew Cotter.
There's certainly a crowded leaderboard at the halfway stage with 4 men tied at the top in Americans Ricky Fowler, Ryan Moore and Keane Bradley, alongside Australian Adam Scott, all on 8 under par. But another Australian Jason Day, Sweden's Robert Carlson and the Scott Hawkson are just 1 behind. 55 players, 6 shots in the lead. Rory McIlroy certainly believes he still has a chance that his putter warms up. 4 off the pace after a second success of 68, with round number 1 Luke Donald a shot for the back. Lee Westwood could overtake Donald at the top of the game, but he let slip 4 shots in the back 9 to lie 2 under. Tiger Woods will need miracles if he is to come from 7 behind at a place where he has won 7 times before.
And the Australian long jumper Mitchell Watt has reinforced his favouritism for this month's World Athletics Championship with another Diamond League win this morning. He set a new record for the London meet with a winning jump of 8.45 metres. Craig Mottram also took victory in the 5,000 metres, a time of 13 minutes and 23.97 seconds. Well, let's take a look at